Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton alongside Maddie Gardner and Lauren Coleman.
Yes, we are so glad you're joining us this Wednesday afternoon. We have a lot of big stories to get to, including the latest on kids wearing masks in schools this fall. We heard from the governor this afternoon, as well as that hazy air that's still hanging around.
Definitely some big stories, so make sure you head over to our Facebook page, join our live stream. We'd love to talk with you throughout the show.
Well, Governor Roy Cooper laid out the road ahead for public schools in the fall, saying schools should still require masks for kindergarten through 8th graders. But one district here in the Triad already made the decision to make masks optional earlier this week. WFMY News 2's Marissa Tansino is joining us live in studio now. So, Marissa, what do parents need to know after this decision?
Well, Maddie, the governor made this announcement saying it comes after revamping guidance for schools. Governor Cooper says all students and teachers K through 8th grade should continue to wear masks in the classroom. But for vaccinated teachers and high schoolers, masks will be optional. Now, when asked how this will be enforced, the governor said there's going to be a big push across the state to make sure all school districts follow this guidance. DHHS Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen later said if trends continue to go in the wrong direction and schools aren't doing what they need to be doing to protect kids, they'll revisit next steps. But when it comes to going back to tightening restrictions or taking additional action if the COVID-19 trends in our state don't turn around, the governor said they'll do whatever it takes to stop the spread of the virus.
We are ready to do whatever is necessary to protect the health and safety of people. We are concerned with the increase that we have seen in our numbers, our hospitalizations, and people just need to know that all of the options continue to be on the table.
Now, the Randolph County school system decided earlier this week to make masks optional for the upcoming school year. I'll have more from the board chair, who says he doesn't expect that decision to change, coming up at 5.
The rising coronavirus numbers are obvious when you look at the trend, so check out the number of the daily cases in our state. Today, the state says it learned of about 1,434 new cases in the past 24 hours. It's much higher than all the other days on this graph. It's actually the highest number we've seen in more than 2 months, and not the direction we want to be heading with back to school season almost here.
A growing number of Republicans are now encouraging Americans to get vaccinated. They're doing so as health leaders report an alarming spike in new COVID cases across the country. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
As COVID cases spike, congressional Republicans who've been silent or against vaccinations are now speaking out to combat vaccine hesitancy.
Everyone should be vaccinated. There's no reason not to be vaccinated. I'm vaccinated.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio's home state has become an epicenter of the highly transmissible Delta variant of the virus. It now accounts for around 83% of new infections across the country.
This is really not a partisan issue. There are some people that don't want to be vaccinated, and you won't convince them.
A recent CBS News poll found Republicans are far more likely than Democrats to say they will not get vaccinated. After delaying for months, Congressman Steve Scalise, the second-ranking House Republican in Congress, says he got his first dose of the Pfizer vaccine this week, calling the shot safe and effective. Both the White House and Congress have been hit with a number of breakthrough infections, hitting staff that have been vaccinated against COVID-19. Health officials stress those who are vaccinated have a lesser chance of becoming seriously ill.
All of the current vaccines work against the Delta variant and every variant out there.
Beginning next month, healthcare workers in New York City will now be required to either get vaccinated or get tested weekly.
This is about keeping people safe and stopping the Delta variant.
In Georgia, where cases are rising, the family of 5-year-old Wyatt Gibson says he died from COVID complications last week. Current vaccines have not yet been approved for children under the age of 12. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
A $20,000 signing bonus will be offered to newly hired teachers who meet some criteria. They include agreeing to work for 3 years in one of the district's lowest performing schools. Teachers also have to show 2 years of growth data, and the bonuses will be paid for with money from school emergency relief funds.
We have more headlines to get to with your 4 to 5 roundup. Starting with this, the North Carolina Department of Labor is now investigating the attack on a Guilford County Detention Center guard. Officer Sheldon Kaminsky, after officials say an inmate attacked the 71-year-old. He is currently still intubated at the hospital. The department says an investigation can take up to 6 months and is launched anytime a worker ends up in the hospital. Forsyth County leaders say a cash incentive to keep people vaccinated is seeing success. The health department gave out 116 first doses of vaccine yesterday. It's also the first day they've been giving out $25 cash cards. Most of the people who showed up said they did so because of the money. The $25 cards are given out to anyone who gets a first dose and the person who drives them. You can schedule a COVID-19 vaccine appointment at the Forsyth County Health Department, but walk-ins are also accepted Monday through Friday. The opening ceremonies for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics are not until Friday, but the games are already underway. Softball and soccer games started early this morning. The #1 ranked U.S. women's soccer team took on Sweden at 4:30 this morning Eastern Time. And for the first time since 2019, the U.S. women lost. Sweden won 3-0, but the U.S. will play its next group stage game against New Zealand this Saturday. When the opening ceremonies do get underway in just 2 days, we now know who is going to be holding the flag and leading Team USA into the stadium. Women's basketball star Sue Bird and baseball infielder Eddie Alvarez will be the flag bearers. Alvarez actually played minor league ball with the Dash just a few years ago. It's the first time 2 athletes were chosen as a way to promote gender equality at the games. Both were chosen for the honor by their fellow teammates.
Well, if you check the skies out at all today, you probably noticed this here in the Triad, all across North Carolina, really, and even in parts of the U.S. like New York, Kentucky, and Virginia. They all have this hazy air out there. Believe it or not, it's from wildfires and it's smoke that moves through the jet stream. Some of those wildfires are in Canada and all the way out west in parts of Oregon, brought to us courtesy of the winds. And we've been noticing that for a couple of days, Monique, it seems like.
Yeah, my mom called me up and she said, "Hey Monique, the moon looks a little orangey pinkish." And I was like, yeah, that's because that wildfire smoke is kind of shaping up our skies to be a little bit orange. And we're still seeing that as we go through the course of the day today, a bit hazy. When you take a look here at these sky cam views, you can see the UNC Greensboro shot showing some really thick air. That haziness really picking up on this particular sky cam view. Now, we've seen severe thunderstorm watches, warnings. We know those colors may not be so much familiar with this one. And this one here is due to those weather alerts. And you can kind of see even my green screen is kind of dealing with some of that haze there on the camera, making for a little bit difficulty for you guys to see. So here across Carolina, we're in that orange zone. Code orange has been issued. What does that mean? Well, that haziness actually is pollutants that are now greater abundance in the air. So use that mask to actually help protect you for some of those pollutants, as if you're a sensitive community, especially dealing with any respiratory issues, that mask can definitely be helpful to filter out some of those pollutants that are in the air. On top of that, really discouraging any outdoor exercising, just because those pollutants can definitely affect the respiratory communities that have respiratory issues, and anyone else. It's not good to put those pollutants into your breathing. So when Eric was speaking just earlier, he talked about the wind patterns. So you can see here, this trough kind of setup here is really allowing for these winds to come in from this northwestern direction and funnel in that hazy air right directly here to the Carolinas. You can see some locations not in that same area wind flow, well to the north and east. Now, not exactly in that wind flow. We're really just feeling the brunt of it here because we're right in that pocket of where that wind is flowing towards. And that's going to be the case through your Thursday as well as going into your Friday, really funneling that air right here to North Carolina and specifically the Triad. So again, use that mask as a filter if you are heading outdoors, at least today and tomorrow. More details on the 7-day coming up.
Well, if you're like me, you love a charcuterie board. Here's some examples back here. If you don't know what that is, then just think meats, cheeses, and fruits, all arranged beautifully on a board or a plate. Well, a Triad woman has put her love for food to use in her new business called Wanderlust Boards, and we caught up with LUIZA Holland at an event this morning. Take a look. This is absolutely beautiful. I can't even say enough about it. TV does not do it justice. So tell me, where did all this come from, this love for charcuterie boards?
So I started this business, Wanderlust Boards, actually in August of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. And it was just kind of a creative outlet for me, a way to express my personality through food. I love food. I had a busy life and we're doing other things, and the pandemic just allowed me a time to stop, reset, and find this new passion of mine.
So I love food too, but I can't do this. How did you have to tell me, how did you learn how to do not only the pairings, but the presentation is fabulous.
So it was a lot of self-taught, trial and error. There's trying one thing and liking how it tastes, one ingredient to the other, and then serving them on a board. In terms of a presentation, it was, again, just research, educating myself. My background is not in food. My background is in business and sales. So this was new for me as well. And as I said, I've always liked food and like presentation. For me, that's one of the most important things that for my board is how do they look? They look delicious, but do they look amazing and presentable? Because I think that's very important. And that's something that I always grew up in my family as well. My mom would always set up nice tables and set up the food really nicely. So the presentation became a big part of what I'm doing now.
It's your happy place.
Yes.
So the bottom line is, when your customers walk away from your board, what's the takeaway? What do you want them to feel?
So whenever they get a board from me, that being a board that I prepared specifically for someone, or they came to a brewery or to where I do one of my pop-ups, when they open the box or when they open the board, what I want them to say is, this is too pretty to eat. When they say that to me, it really warms my heart. It makes me so happy because I feel like it's mission accomplished and they are happy with what they received.
So she said her mother was real big on presentation at the table when she was younger and growing up, and she said, and that stuck with me, I like a pretty table. But let me tell you firsthand, Maddie knows too, it's not just a pretty look, that food is phenomenal.
So
she knows what she's doing.
So a friend of mine got me one of her boards for my birthday last week, and it was gorgeous and it was delicious. Always a crowd pleaser. And Eric and I actually used to snack before COVID together. We do shared snack of cheese and meats, so this is right up
By the way,
Let's bring that back
yeah,
now that I'm
yes.
here.
You need
Because
this
I'm
one
hungry
does,
looking at all these pictures.
This one does a charcuterie board that is almost to that level. It is phenomenal looking. Yes, I
I'd
love
love to
it.
see it and taste it.
When you don't cook, you have to do something. But now I think I would buy one of LUIZA's boards because it's even easier.
And
just order it.
I will tell you, these are all her pictures, I believe, from Instagram, right?
They're gorgeous.
Yes.
It's like
and
a painting.
She, in our 4:30 half hour, so stick around, she's going to tell us the basics of how you can do something, not maybe on her level, but to a small level. And she shows you how to fold the meats, because that's the difficult part.
That's what I want to learn.
Yep.
Salami roast
It's
coming up.
Stick with us so you can find out.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check. Mic check.
Oh, well, hello. We're just chatting. We were hoping to be celebrating Triad native Chris Paul today. Well, we still are, but not because he won an NBA championship.
Unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns lost in Game 6 last night, and the Milwaukee Bucks are now this year's NBA champs.
Yeah, congrats to the Bucks.
True.
Good game by Chris Paul. WFMI News 2's Amanda Ferguson is joining us now with good news, though, when it comes to Paul's future.
Yeah, it's taken Chris Paul 16 seasons to reach the finals. 16 seasons. Now, unfortunately, he and the Suns aren't heading back to Phoenix with the NBA title after losing 4 straight games to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, they haven't lost that many games in a row all season. CP3 leading the Suns last night with 26 points despite he and the guys missing shots and having costly turnovers. It's pretty tough to beat a Bucks team, though, that had everything going for them, especially with their MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, scoring 50 points. Now, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet since the finals ended, but CP3 says he's going to take some time to reflect on his ride, and there's one thing he's certain about when it comes to his career.
I mean, it'll take a while to process this or whatnot, but it's the same mentality. Get back to work. You know what I mean? I ain't retiring, if that's what you're asking. That's out. So, back to work. Everybody in that locker room know we had enough, but it wasn't enough. So we got to figure it out. I think for me, I'll just look at myself and figure out how I can get better, what I could have done more, and make sure I come back next season ready to do it again.
And I
So
hope
there you have it. CP3 is staying.
I love he looked at the guy. Can you imagine being that reporter and he looks at you? If you're asking me if I'm retiring, that's not happening.
Well, that's a lot of
It's a
the
legit
times
question.
you get those questions, and most of the guys are going to say, nope, not talking about it right now, not even thinking about it. But it's nice that we actually know what's going to happen with his career. Now, we don't know where he's going, if he's going to stay with the Suns or not, but
How old is he?
Like 36.
he's 36.
Yeah, okay.
So next year he'll be 37. So that's why this question
that's
is
a legitimate question, right?
Yeah.
Season 17, 37, and if he gets this, it's going to be so exciting for us here in the area to root him on.
I would like to retire at 37.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Would have been nice for me.
I'm not nearly as talented as Chris Paul.
You got to make that money like he makes so you can
right.
retire. I will say that they had turnovers were killing them over the last 2 or 3 games. So I didn't watch last night.
He's had a rough couple of games.
Yeah, it's true.
But from the way it sounds, he's ready to get back and go in for next season.
He'll be back.
Next year.
You say you're predicting that?
Predict.
Okay.
We're going to speak it into existence.
He's got maybe another 2 years. I don't know.
There you go.
Yes.
At least one more we have.
Cool we
We'll
get to watch
talk
him
him
play.
into it. Yes. All right, we're going to break. Yeah, let me get his. I got his number.
Mr. Paul. Sarah.
I don't have a clicker, so I can't talk back to you. Oh, you can hear me. Yeah, I'm calling him. It's ringing. He's setting up. Okay. We can start at 7. Hello, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, cool. Can you do a mic check for me and count to 10, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and
All right, it's kind of, what are you going to say, Courtney? Okay, cool. All right, Chris, we're going to try our best with it. It is a little bit of in and out when you do talk, so if I do have to cut out of you quickly, just giving you a heads up.
yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
heard.
Cool.
Yeah, it's right here.
Is it that light that Lauren? Oh, yeah.
Jeff, every time when you're done with that issue.
Well, we've been talking about the haze, but we can't stop also talking about the heat and humidity. Definitely feeling it if you're heading out the door, and also going to need some sunglasses because the sunshine is out as well. Conditions across the Triad are dry though, and that's what I'm expecting to continue to see as we go throughout the course of tonight. But I have a weather spotter joining me to sort of talk about some of those hazy conditions. We have Chris Burleson, who is in Ruffin. Tell us, Chris, have you been seeing the haze that a lot of folks have been talking about?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, it seems as though we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. I see his mouth moving there, but I can't quite hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Chris, I can't hear you too well, but yes, I know earlier I spoke with him and he said he did see the hazy conditions there. And of course, if any of you are interested in becoming a weather spotter, feel free to join us by emailing weather@wfmy.com if you're interested in becoming a weather spotter. So conditions across the Triad still very warm. I kind of talk about the temperatures. I'm feeling them right now. And with that code orange in effect right now, it's really encouraged to stay indoors, and also that's where you'll find the AC with temperatures like this in the mid to upper 80s, 87 there in Greensboro as of now. Dew points in the 60s, 70s, kind of in that uncomfortable range, not nearing those upper 60s, but still fairly sticky outside. So our satellite and radar kind of showing those dry conditions across the Triad, but what you see stretching down to the south is what's a cold front, a dry one though, that's pushed through, and that's why I'm expecting dry conditions for tonight and again for tomorrow. That full 7-day, putting it all into perspective for you. I know you see those 90s on there, feeling hot and humid, and then the greater rain chances starting the weekend.
Do you think about the intentions behind your words before you speak them? So many things go into how your words are interpreted and the impact that they have. Here's Coach Lamont with today's YOUDAY message.
They have no feelings and they have no emotions. They are simply soldiers on a mission to please their master. I am speaking about our words. Our words literally leave our mouths and travel into the atmosphere, build, and then redirect back to our lives the very thing we've spoken. To them, it's all about obedience. Look at your life. If you did an evaluation, can you connect what you see with a word that you spoke? Whether they were spoken directly or indirectly, spoken out of love or hate, your words don't think about your intention. They are merely doing what you've desired. Be mindful that every word will bring something to your life. And once they come back, you have to make room for them. It is important that we watch what we say, because we'll get what we spoke. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best YOUDAY. I'll see you tomorrow.
It's that typical line when people say you get back what you put out,
Yep.
you know? It's kind of true.
I agree with that. You know, when you get caught up in the moment, it's good to just take a breath and breathe and think about what you say, because sometimes you say things you don't mean and it can come back to bite you.
Think before you speak. I think you also have to consider the intention behind other people's words. You know, you might be offended at first, but then take a moment, think about the position they're in, rephrase it in your mind, and that may help you understand what they're trying to say.
Quick reactions are never good. You know, you always do need to take time. Even if it's a compliment to you, you need to take time to kind of don't just react quickly, you know?
Right.
You need to think things through a little bit.
If you're not going to accept the insults, you can't accept every compliment.
That's right.
Like you gotta put them both under the same lens.
That's so true.
Great words from Coach Lamont.
There we go.
And from Maddie.
We'll be back.
I'm kidding.
Always from
It was
Maddie.
a joke.
Maddie's YOUDAY.
Hello? Oh.
Hello.
Hi, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
She switched back because of Crybaby Brad. Cry, baby, cry. Mic check, Bald Eagle. Can you hear me, Bald Eagle? Can you hear me? Thank you, Courtney.
Go off and on. It's like it's a short or something.
I have not figured that out.
It's a light that Jeff said was too bright on my right side, and he's adjusting.
Lauren, can you stand here over here for a second? Yeah.
Minute 20 scored us.
Okay, look at me this way. Yeah, that's a lot better. You're not getting smacked on the side of your head.
We're good?
Yep.
There's one over here for you.
You got one. Package, Maddie. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. 30 more minutes to go on this Wednesday. It is July 21st if you're keeping track at home.
Wow, it was just July 1st.
It's flying.
What's happening?
Years flying by.
Yeah.
Well, happy hump day to you. As you know, we are live on Facebook, so make sure you head over to our live stream and chat with us throughout the show.
We're going to get to your weather forecast in just a minute, but first, the latest on COVID-19. Health leaders are pushing more people to get vaccinated as the Delta variant continues to spread, especially among people who are not vaccinated. Let's rewind to December 2020. That's when the first COVID-19 vaccines were given the green light. There was a rush to get vaccinated. People lined up to get shots, and appointments, they were hard to find. Fast forward to today. Now you can get a vaccine almost anywhere, but some people are running into a roadblock getting a vaccine here at their doctor's office. I spoke with 3 area physicians and the state health department to find out why.
Primary care is almost like an old show Cheers, where everybody knows your name. The staff knows them. They feel comfortable. They feel that we care for them and are going to take care of them, and that we've known them over time, so we're not going to do something that's not safe for them.
Dr. Rich Lord's office is one of 24 with Wake Forest Baptist Health that has COVID-19 vaccines. He started administering doses 4 weeks ago, 6 months after shots received emergency use authorization.
Early on in the pandemic, when we didn't have enough vaccine, we didn't want to do that. Now we want to make sure we vaccinate as many people as we can, so that's not as much of a worry.
That's one of the reasons doctors' offices were not included in the state's initial vaccine rollout. But as Dr. Deborah Porterfield with the North Carolina Health Department explains, it wasn't the only one.
So the early rollout included organizations that could have an immediate and effective reach across large geographic areas. And so in the beginning, hospitals, large healthcare systems, local health departments, and pharmacies.
Concerns like wasting doses in an open vial, storage, and federal shipping minimums excluded your doctor from getting shots. Now, Dr. Porterfield says primary care practices are an essential part in getting people vaccinated. Doctors can apply with the state to get doses.
But there's no doubt that there is a learning curve. And again, we're doing everything that we can, providing all the resources that we can to make it easier and easier to be a vaccine provider.
Dr. Jeff Hatcher with Cone Health hopes to get doses at his office soon. He says he's missed the chance to vaccinate patients after talking to them about getting a shot.
When I give people that pitch, or when other providers give them that pitch, I can give them the vaccine right then, right? So I have that hot moment. But if Instead of that, if when they're leaving, I'm giving them a piece of paper and say, well, if you're thinking about it, you can go here. That is still a little bit of a barrier. So I may have lost that opportunity.
Some Cone Health offices have shots. In Novant Health System, 70 practices do. Dr. David Priest agrees this is necessary to decrease vaccine hesitancy and increase vaccination rates.
We think that's a very important strategy for continuing to get people vaccinated. Because, as much as we think going out and doing an event like I'm doing right now and being put on TV at night changes people's minds, what really changes their minds is when they talk to a physician they trust.
Now you may be thinking, I can get any other shot at my doctor's office easily, so why not this one? Well, since the COVID-19 vaccines are being given out under emergency use authorization, only governments can buy doses. Doctors can't purchase them like they would other vaccines. So it all has to go through the state, who has to go through the federal government. Let's do a quick check on where vaccine rates stand here in North Carolina. 60% of all adults have had at least one dose of a vaccine. 56% of all adults in our state are now fully vaccinated. Here in Guilford County, the numbers are not as high. Only 50% of county residents are fully vaccinated. 47% have at least one dose.
Greensboro police are asking for the public's help tracking down a missing 19-year-old. And WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has been digging into this case all day, talked to GPD and the missing teen's friends. What did they tell you?
Well, Lauren, as of right now, there's little information being released regarding the disappearance of 19-year-old Alan Tran. I spoke with Greensboro Police's Public Information Officer, Ron Glenn, just a few moments ago, and this is what we know so far. Alan Tran is described as a light-skinned black male. He was last seen at his residence in Greensboro around 2 p.m. on July 19th, wearing an all-black outfit and black Crocs. He has a very slim build and stands about 5'4" tall. Alan's vehicle was found on fire near Timber Creek apartment complex in Greensboro, but as of right now, there is no sign of Alex. Please take a good look at these photos on the screen. If you've seen Alan or have any information that can be helpful to find Alan, please contact GPD or call Crime Stoppers and leave an anonymous tip at 336-373-1000.
Well, if you find yourself trying to look far in the distance and it's a little bit difficult because it's hazy, well, that's what we've been talking about when we're talking about these wildfire smoke plumes making their way all the way from the west coast here, because the upper level winds are definitely helping for the smoke plumes to be continuing to move through here. Now, when we take a look here at this webcam, now this is a look at the sky cam, of Greensboro, you can see that thickness there in the air with temperatures in the low 80s. Now, looping through the time as we continue now to this 4 p.m. hour, you still see that thick haziness there. The temperature is warmed up though to 87, still making for a very warm afternoon. That visibility, this is what I was talking about here, making it difficult to see far distances. This is kind of showing you how far out you can see in some locations across the Triad. You can see Greensboro just at 5 miles of visibility. So just beyond 5 miles, it's way more difficult to see outside. So here's a look at that future cast. This frontal boundary that's down to our south. Now this one right here, this is coming in dry though. A lot of times we see cold fronts and just ahead of it, we expect it to be some showers and storms. With this one, not so much, because we're not going to see that moisture really advecting in and helping for some storms to develop. High pressure comes in behind it. High pressure means dry conditions, and that's going to be the overall case for your Thursday and your Friday. Greater chances come in Saturday and Sunday, but not complete washouts. Very small shower chances. So for tonight, forecasting numbers in the upper 60s, partly cloudy skies, and the foothills just about the same, some 50s, 60s for you. Tomorrow, warming back up to numbers very similar to today, upper 80s, partly sunny skies, and then here across the metro area, just about the same, those upper 80s. That full 7 days showing it all here for you. Towards the end of the week, hot and humid, 90 degrees on that forecast, a couple of them there transitioning out of the weekend into the start of the week. Overall, though, we're staying hot and humid, keeping a close eye on those hazy conditions for your Thursday, Friday.
gas prices around town, they go anywhere from about $2.62 to $2.67. This is the Gas Buddy site map. I tell you, I filled up this morning and it was $2.73. So I missed out on saving a little bit of money, maybe like 50 cents total, right? So do you drive around looking for the cheapest price?
No,
I don't.
I don't either.
I go to the closest one to my house.
Yeah,
No,
me too.
because when I need gas, I am on E.
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
am on fumes.
I
getting
do
to
that
the pump.
too.
That is me too.
I hate pumping gas.
You do?
Yeah. I
don't
wish people
mind
still
it,
did
but-
it for you.
Yeah, back in the 1950s.
I don't mind tipping. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, some places
Jersey,
they still
I think
do.
they
All right, so best if you look on the app for sure instead of using gas, finding and
Strap it
using all your gas to find
Yeah.
the cheap gas. Consumer Reports has a few tricks to help you get more out of your tank of gas. Check it out.
So the first thing you want to do is check your tire pressure. Driving on underinflated tires not only hurts fuel economy, but also handling. So to find the proper pressure for your tires, make sure you check the sticker on your door jamb.
Next, look up top. Remove the roof rack if it isn't being used. At highway speeds, more than 50% of engine power goes to overcoming aerodynamic drag, so don't add to the drag. And don't miss this. Don't speed to your destination. Consumer Reports found reducing the speed of a RAV4 from 75 to 65 miles per hour improved fuel economy by 6 miles per gallon, and dropping down to 55 improved it by another 8 miles per gallon.
The harder you accelerate, the more fuel you use. And if you drive smoothly, you'll not only get better gas mileage, but you also extend the life of your engine, transmission, brakes, and tires.
Consumer Reports says you can save money and skip premium gas unless it is required. Now, this is usually indicated on the fuel filler door. Many cars listed as just recommended, which means it is optional. Hey, before I let you go, there are so many reasons to smile. My big birthday wish was to provide 50,000 meals for our community. Well, you showed up, and you showed up big with donating $8,700. That's right, that equals to 61,000 meals. And you brought bag after bag after bag, filling up 30 boxes. That's 4,500 meals. And together, that grand total is 65,742 meals. You, my News 2 community, you overwhelmed me with your generosity for your neighbors. Thank you.
Oh my god, I did the wrong thing again. Hey, mic check 1 2. I keep messing up and doing presys and not bit central. It's gonna take me a minute to get
We have breaking news in Yadkin County. 3 elementary school students were taken to the hospital. Yadkin County Schools says a Jonesville elementary school bus overturned with the elementary students on board. Multiple children were injured. The children taken to the hospital were taken as a precaution, and other children are being treated at the scene. We're not sure what caused the crash, but we do have a team headed that way, and we will continue following this story and bring you updates. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today, the North Carolina Attorney General announced a major settlement in the fight to stop the opioid epidemic. North Carolina and several other states reached a $26 billion settlement with major drug distributors and opioid manufacturer Johnson & Johnson. It is the second largest settlement by states ever. The Attorney General says while the money can never replace lives lost, it will bring needed funds to treatment and recovery services. Prosecutors charge a California couple they say started a deadly wildfire during a gender reveal party. Investigators say the fire started after the couple set off a smoke bomb. The 2020 fire burned 22,000 acres of land, destroyed or damaged 9 homes, and killed San Bernardino National Forest firefighter Charles Morton. The couple is facing multiple charges, including involuntary manslaughter. If convicted, they could face between roughly 15 and 20 years in prison. And we'll soon know the winners of the 3rd vaccine lottery in North Carolina. Today, state leaders once again randomly drew names. Someone will win $1 million, and a student will win a $125,000 college scholarship. It will take a few days before we know who won because state leaders have to verify they are eligible to win and willing to go public. As soon as we hear about winners and the announcement, we'll let you know.
All right, do not look now, but college football season is right around the corner. It is all Eric Chilton talks about.
I am so excited. Yeah, ACC football kickoff started today down in Charlotte, where we all got a taste of what we can expect in 2021.
So we got to talk to Luke Liddon. One of the biggest names in attendance was the new ACC commissioner, Jen Phillips. So Luke, what'd you learn?
Yeah, isn't it so great? We were talking ACC football again as we're less than 40 days away from kickoff. Not only is it the first media event for ACC football in 2 years, but also a grand introduction for the new ACC commissioner. And today was a pivotal moment in the transition of leadership as Phillips made his first public address as John Swofford's successor. He talked about a wide range of topics from the COVID vaccine, name, image, and likeness, and making football the #1 priority throughout the league.
As I've stated since my first day as ACC commissioner, football must be #1 priority for us, for all of us. Our schools, the league, ACC network, our partners, we've been collaborating for months to ensure that ACC football has the mindset of 24/7, 365, and we're working together to further elevate football in the ACC.
Now there's much more to unpack at the ACC Media Days, including hearing from your very own Carolina Tar Heels. We'll dive into that coming up at 5 o'clock. I know you guys are excited.
This is a big year.
I hope so.
It is. This is one where, in fact, Luke and I were talking during the commercial break. I said, can Carolina get to the ACC championship this year? Luke, what do you think?
I think this would be their best chance to do it. I know Sam Howell, this is probably his last year with the Tar Heels. Now's the time to do it. Mac Brown effect. I think this is the best chance. I can say it simply.
I think so, too. Isn't there Heisman talk with Howell, maybe?
There is. There is. I was looking at a stat line. He has, I forget what it was off the top of my head, but he had a better stat line than the Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who's now in the NFL.
Oh,
so
that's amazing. I saw that.
I don't know.
68 touchdowns or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what it was. Yep.
I never get my hopes too high.
No.
But fingers crossed.
Yes.
We'll do this. And we're going to take a short break. We'll do this through the break. See you in a bit. So earlier in the show, we showed you these, the amazing images there, the charcuterie boards of Louisa Holland and her Wanderlust Boards company. But could the untrained charcuterie people like you and me pull this off at home? The answer for me is no, but she did give us a few tips. Take a look. Even that is beautiful to me. I probably couldn't even do that. Give us some tips, Louisa, on how do we do this at home?
Sure. So if you're making it, for 2 people, kind of as a date night in, I like to use a dining plate. I think it's a good size for 2. I always start with bigger items. So here I have my little bowl of strawberry jam, I have my bowl of olives, and I put the grapes because they are bigger items. Then I go on for the cheeses. Here I've chosen the brie. And my tip here is soft cheeses, you want to keep it whole because then it's just, otherwise you're going to be kind of too sticky and a little bit hard to eat. So.
And do you have to do that quickly? Because I would think brie changes fast in warmer air, right?
Yes, so you definitely want to slice any kind of cheese when it's cold so they don't crumble it. But then you do want to eat it at room temperature. So don't take a cheese out of the fridge and eat it straight away because it's not going to taste the same.
Okay, and you were going to talk about the meat. Or you have more with the cheeses over here?
Yeah, so any of the harder cheeses, I always recommend serving it sliced or crumbled on your board. If you keep all cheeses whole, I feel like your guests or even yourself, you're always, you never want to be the first one to slice it, So this is more welcoming and a little bit more inviting for your guests. And then I move on to the salami. The salami here, I'm going to teach you how to do the salami fold. So I fold it in half, and then I fold it in half again. And then I hold it on my hand. And then I kind of do it again, half, half, and then I put it together. And I always make sure, that they are all to the same direction.
That's so they stay together too on the plate, right?
Yes. And you kind of go until you have a full stack.
There it is. See, it
It's
already
coming
looks
together.
good. I love it. This is great stuff. Thank you, Louise. This is perfect for us to do at home. I appreciate you. This is good.
course.
Now, can I eat all this?
Yes, please do.
Very good. That's why I like her. And we did. We took it. Our photographer, Sean, and I drove. I had it in my car. He was worried there'd be nothing left. He said, Chilton, save some. I said, I will. But I was nibbling.
There was nothing left last I checked. Like
No,
by the
not
time
now.
I made it over to the plate,
It was just gone.
Yes.
I think there was like a pretzel.
There was like one chocolate-covered pretzel.
Just one.
That's about it.
So do y'all think y'all could do that at home?
She could.
So
I
much
could
attention
not.
to detail with the folding of that meat.
I would try.
Did you notice how she was doing it and then holding the other fingers?
Yeah,
I
it was like sewing almost. I was
Right,
like, okay.
right. Anyway, her stuff is beautiful. You just look at Wanderlust Boards online and you can buy it.
And she does workshops and classes.
Yes.
Oh.
Summerfield Farms, she does workshops on how to do your own charcuterie board to help you with that. It's really fun.
That would make for a fun ladies' night or maybe
That's
a
right.
cute date night or something like that.
See, now you're talking. All right, let's see if the weather is good for date night. We'll check in with Monique.
Well, I think it is good for date night because our radar is expected to stay dry at the least. You can definitely do outdoor activity for certain, but limiting any exercise as again those hazy conditions all due to the wildfire smoke plumes that have made their way all the way down to here in North Carolina. So like I said, that radar staying dry, expecting to keep this same picture through tonight. And this is a look at that weather alert with that code orange that has been issued for those sensitive groups, really just limiting your outdoor exercise activity, as well as I mentioned earlier, wearing that mask to really help filter out some of the pollutants that are in the air. So the temperature is still very warm, especially though when we look towards the central metro area where those numbers are right in those upper 80s. When we look towards the foothills, we get cooler. When we even stretch our way all the way as we further east, we get some low 80s on there. The dew points though, everyone feeling them. So Thursday, Friday, they kind of take a dip, but it's kind of a tease because we're not really going to drop to that comfortable 50 range. We're just going to be right around there. And then as we go towards the weekend, we're dancing back in those dew points in the 70s, so making for very sticky feels. And that's also when I'm tracking a greater chance for showers and storms across the area. So you can see that forecast starts to increase as we go into the weekend, staying low Saturday and Sunday, Monday featuring greater rain chances, but everyone kind of concentrated, every day, concentrated to the latter part of the day. And here's a look at that full 7-day.
children were. Breaking news in Yadkin County, 26 children were on the Jonesville Elementary School.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Tasha. Minute 30, end of the block.
Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota.
Tasha's in the house, in the hizzy.
Am I in the first half? Maybe I am. Okay. Good.
Over here.
Give it to everybody's just like laying
Marissa, can you hear them? They're talking to you.
No, I can't because I don't have an IFB. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mic check.
What the hell?
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's time for my 2 cents. As more and more vaccines go into arms and restrictions are lifted, many folks are starting to get out and about. We're seeing more people dining in at restaurants and attending live music events. But most of these scenarios are personal choices. For many folks, returning to work or school isn't necessarily a personal choice. Now, I've worked in the office throughout the pandemic, but I know there may be some anxiety for those who are transitioning to an in-person workflow. I recently read an article by the American Behavioral Clinics that offered some great tips on how to manage stress when returning to on-site work. One great tip is keeping your personal work area clean. Make sure you continue to wipe down your keyboard and desk before and after use. Try to incorporate virtual meetings whenever possible. Here at News 2, our morning and afternoon meetings are still held over Zoom. And of course, you can continue to practice the 3 W's. Wear a mask, wash your hands, watch your distance. Just make sure that you go at your own pace. And don't be afraid to speak out if you ever feel uncomfortable. We're all still trying to navigate this new normal. It will take some time, but keeping a positive mindset and having open communication with those around you will help to reduce some of your worries. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We have breaking news in Yadkin County. 26 children were on a Jonesville Elementary School bus that overturned this afternoon. Multiple children were injured. The children taken to the hospital were taken as a precaution, and other children are being treated at the scene. We're not sure what caused the crash, but we do have a team headed that way, and we will bring you live updates at 6.
Thanks to safe and effective